You want answers? You got it. All right, so in this video, I'm going to answer the questions that were in my pop quiz in a previous video. Scroll back so you can see it. This is a spoiler because I'm going to give the answers. So if you want to test yourself on Greek and Latin roots, swipe left, go back and watch that video, and then come back and test yourself to see if you got them right. All right, so what are Greek and Latin roots? It is believed that approximately 75% of the words in the English language actually have Greek and Latin origin. We see these because the words still have these root. A root of a word is a part of the word. It is usually like one syllable, and in most cases, the root is found at the beginning of the word. Not in all cases, as we'll see further on in this video, but most of them are at the beginning of words. You will see many words that start with the same, we're going to call it word or root word, and what that means is all of those words have something in common. Why is it important to learn Greek and Latin roots? Because when you know this, like I said, 75% approximately, so you would have access to so many more words just by knowing the base part of a word. And you'll understand better when I get into the example. So the words I gave in the video were, and I'm going to try to remember them. The first word was manu. In figuring out manu, think manual, think manuscript. Maybe the word doesn't give you the answer, and so you have to already know what that root means. Because the root word is a little bit nuanced, it might have a slightly different meaning in different words, because you're thinking now, what does manual and manuscript have in common? Well, manu means by hand. This is why it is important to collect knowledge from anywhere, and this is something I talk about, having background knowledge. Kids getting experiences and adults getting experiences to grow your background knowledge, because mano means hand in Spanish. I don't know Portuguese and I don't know the other Romance languages, but I know that mano means hand in Spanish. Mano, manu, close enough. It means by hand. So when you do something manually, you're doing it by hand. When you are doing a manuscript, it's usually something that is written by hand. So the answer to manu is by hand. The second root word was duct or duct. And in these two words, the root is at the end of the word, as in the word conduct or conductor. The answer to this one is to lead. Conduct is to lead. You're conducting the orchestra, you are leading. If you're conducting the bus, you're pretty much leading. You're the one who says what happens, you collect the fare, you do everything. You are the conductor. So duct means to lead. And if you see duct in any other word, it is quite possibly related. If not exactly to lead, it is related to that. So after duct, there was scent. This is the one that most persons got incorrectly. Everybody said 10 because they're thinking 10 cent. But remember, the root word rarely ever stands on its own. So the cent in 10 cent doesn't mean 10. The cent, as in the word percent, as in the word century, and this is a good example of how it's in the beginning of a word and at the end of a word. So there's century, and there is centurion, and there is percent. If you did not learn in elementary school that percent means per hundred, you probably would have been baffled about this. But then you could have still used century. Century, 100 years. So in this one, the answer is B. Many persons had C. So cent means 100. Anywhere you see it, it has something to do with 100. My friend was going through this and he gave the example of a centipede. And then he said, but I don't get it, Ben. A millipede has X amount of legs. So that means, so then milli means, and then centipede means 100 legs. Drop in the comments if you know what milli means based on knowing what a millipede is, or what a millennium is, or a millennia. All right, next word was, I'm going to go with trans because I can't remember the order. Trans, think transportation, thinks transport, think transatlantic. All of these involve getting from one place to another. Do not look at trans or transport as being a bus or a car or a bicycle. Think of transport as in getting from one place to another, because that's what the bicycle does, or what the car does, that's what the truck and the bus do. They get you from one place to another. You would not get on your bike and stand in one place. Okay, forget about that one. It's a bad example because we have stationary bikes. But if you were going to ride your bike out, it would take you from one place to another. It doesn't mean that trans means bike. It just means a means of getting from one place to another. Transatlantic flight takes you across the Atlantic. Transportation takes you across town or across the state. So trans means across. This one is a trick though, because trans also mean from one side to the other. So C and B were both correct. Think transgender, think transsexual, you're going from one to the other. The next one was auto. I think this is the last one. Think autobiography, think autograph, think automatic. If you do not know what it means, I'll simply tell you. Auto means self. And when you're thinking, well, but the automobile doesn't drive itself, think of a manual vehicle. I don't know if you're old enough to know when vehicles had stick shift. When vehicles were stick shift, and vehicles still use stick shift. You may be familiar with only an automatic vehicle, which pretty much is doing everything by itself. It doesn't do that whole bunch of gear changing that we had to do when we were driving stick shift. So it's pretty much an it's an automatic vehicle now because it pretty much do most of the work itself. Now we press a button and the car starts. We don't even have to turn the key anymore. We come to the door, we put our finger on it, and the door recognizes our fingerprint and opens the door. So there are many things that are automatic now in this vehicle. We press a button and the roof opens up. So this is automatic, self, doing it by itself. Autobiography is a biography written by yourself. A biography is a story about you or your life story written by someone else, but an autobiography is written by the self or written by you. As I said, it's not an exact science. The words are not exactly all the same, but they'll be very close. And once you have an idea of what a word means, it is a lot easier to understand what you are reading. I think those were they. Manu means by hand. Duck or duct means to lead. Trans mean the other side or across. Auto means self. And cent means 100. So these are 5 Greek or Latin roots. We won't break them down, that you can use now to help you understand many other words. And there are lots of words that have them at the end, like ology. Ology is at the end of many words if you think about it. Phonology, sonology, biology. There are so many other words that have ology, and ology means a science that studies. I did this in a previous video. So it's a science that studies sound. Phonology is the science of sound. Cardiology, the study of the heart. Biology, study of living things. So anything with ology means it's a science that studies that thing. But I'll get into a lot more Greek and Latin roots because I love them. They will make you feel like a word whisperer. You'll hear a word and you'll feel like you know what that word means, like the word is talking to you. That's how I felt when I was a kid growing up, realizing that words had so much in common. I thought the words were speaking to me. Promise you I'm not crazy. All right, so I hope this answers your question. I will be sharing more Greek and Latin roots as we go along. So start putting your thinking caps on. Start thinking about words you see with similar parts, beginning or end. And as usual, I am Gail, Miss Green to my students, and I thank you for watching.